Hello, Bardown Breakdown. And for the first time, we're actually saying good morning. Not that this is going to matter to you, but it is 9 o'clock in the morning when we are recording this. And we are here with the infamous Stephen Gray of Dikembe. Stephen, what's going on, man? How are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm stoked. This is cool. Like you said, it is early. My children have just vacated the room. And yeah, I'm stoked to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. We're stoked to have you. I know right before we hopped on, Mikey was cooking breakfast for his whole family. So, I kept calling him Breakfast Boy.
Nice.
That's, he knows
the hell of a title.
Up. So let's jump right into it. King's been out since October 17th, I think. So we've had a few months of it. It's incredible. Not that I would expect anything less from Dikembe. I mean, your breadth of work over 15 years is kind of spoken for itself, I think.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Having said that, I found that while listening through King when it came out, that it's got that Dikembe sort of sound that I think you guys have really developed over time since, Chicago Bulls. But I think there's something to it this time around that just has a little bit more depth. Maybe it's in the songwriting, or maybe it's in just some of the influences that you guys have had surrounding some of the new music that you guys have put out. But just to talk a little bit about that, how did you approach King as opposed to, writing and recording all of your other music?
Well, King was like an entirely different process for the band because during like 2020, our bass player Randy moved to Michigan.
Wow.
So we have like completely pivoted to just like remotely doing everything when we're not getting together to like practice for tours and things like that. He'll like fly down every once in a while and we'll write. And we originally started working on the batch of songs in like February 2023 or something like that, and have just been sending them back and forth through Discord. And like we use Sonobus, which is like a kind of like recording program where you can mix and like stuff on the fly.
Okay, that's cool.
And so just kind of like sitting on the songs for a really long time, it got to a point where we chose the songs that we did because they were the ones that we thought were like kind of catchy and singable. We were like, these have been stuck in my head for like a couple of years. So this is the batch we should do. We have so many songs because it's been so long since Muck. And so, yeah, I guess the songwriting feels a little different to me. It feels like a lot like poppier and catchier. And I think that's just from like, I don't know, spending a lot of time, each of us sort of taking the song and then moving away and like letting it like marinate for like months at a time. And then all of a sudden just like, yeah, we should get together and record these. And it was cool. And it was the first time that we had somebody in like a producer role. Randy's cousin Trevor flew down from New Jersey to be in the studio with us. And it was cool to have these songs that we were really familiar with. And then also just like somebody to bounce them off of to tell us like, nah, you should probably just do this a little bit simpler. Like there's no need to make it so mathy. And we were like, okay, yeah, sure. Actually that works out great. That's awesome. Fun to play. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. And so that's awesome. Actually the first time you guys have ever worked with a producer, huh?
Yeah. And it's only the second time that we've been at a real studio. We recorded at Pulp Arts in Gainesville. And we did that for Muck as well. But it's still just such a weird experience compared to like Chicago Bulls we did in like, I don't know, like a week in our drummer's bedroom. And then all of the records have been recorded in like some weird place and then just mixed at his house. So it's a different experience being at Pulp because like the owner of Pulp is like a Gatorade baby. Like there's a lot of money in that studio. And so it's just, the gear is insane. The atmosphere is insane. It's just, it feels like you're actually like making a record. It's like, this place is designed for this. It's not, there's not somebody's like futon in the corner while you're recording.
Like what have we been doing for the past 10 years? Like why have we not? And I guess it's because you're from Gainesville up at where UF is, but I have never heard the term Gatorade baby before, but I love it. I love
the dynasty, dude.
My God. Like Heiress to the Gatorade throne.
I mean that in the best way too. This the owner of Pulp is the coolest guy. Like
Yeah.
it feels like he has taken the money and done something like spectacular with it. Like Pulp is like an arts community. They have these like artist spaces out in these like shipping containers that are like up in tree houses. Like,
Wow.
and they have like a metalworking shop and just it's all kinds of cool shit. It is the coolest place. It's just like a creative atmosphere. Like you
Love
go
that.
in there and you're there to create, and
Sure.
it's really amazing.
Yeah, there's something great about that. I mean, you know, especially giving just people a place to come together to create, right? I mean, you know, if you have that amount of money, I mean, there's so much you could do with it kind of selfishly, right? I mean, you could just
Yeah,
like
exactly.
sit around in your mansion and just, you know, like light your cigar with $100 bill and just like, you know, do nothing but just, you know, live off of your interest. Or you can create something for people that don't have your wealth and maybe don't have your influence to do some great things. So
Yeah, it feels
totally.
like he's sort of
No, go
traveled
ahead, please.
around like
Yeah.
So it feels like he's sort of like traveled around like gathering all this really cool gear
Right.
and just like it's just I don't know. Like I said, the best use of this is just like I'm gonna give people a space to create with like the best means. When we did Muck, we were like trying to find these like keyboard sounds, and the owner was there, and he sort of like he was like, "Are you guys trying to do a piano?" He's like, "Why don't you go use the most expensive piece of gear in the whole studio?" And he like brought us into the big room, and there was just this like grand piano that it was amazing. He's the coolest guy, and it's the coolest space, and everybody that works there is great too. It's a whole they have like photographers that come in, like there are photographers that are employed by Pulp to go like take pictures of people while they're working there, so they can like promote and things like that. It's amazing. It's really cool.
Now, do they put shows on there? I feel like it sounds like this really cool compound, and I've never heard of it.
Yeah, so it is a compound's like the perfect word for it. It's just like a big creative compound. And I think that they do have like little sessions there where people can like go in and watch, but yeah, they don't do like shows in a sense that's like normal to us, but like yeah, I think they do have like sessions where people like they watch people, I don't know, do like live sessions and stuff like that. It's crazy. It's a wild spot. It would be good for shows. They should start doing shows out there,
Right.
especially during Fest.
Oh, I was going to say, I feel like Fest has so many venues. It's like, what's one more? Why not one more? But, you know, I think that just to kind of transition into maybe talking a little bit about Fest, what's the official Dikembe count on how many Fests you've played?
I think it is, the first one was Fest 10, I believe. So it's got to be either 20 or coming up on 20 for... It's crazy. It's so many years. I think 2011 was the first. Actually, yeah. So it's probably like 15 or 16.
And have you guys played literally every year?
Yeah, since the first one. Well, since we played the first time, Randy, our bass player, has like transitioned into being like Tony's like right-hand man.
Wow.
So he takes care of like all the band emails. Like if anybody's ever like if a band is emailed Fest, they've talked to Randy, and he handles like hotels and things. He does a lot of stuff,
and he does.
It's like his full-time job. Yeah,
I was gonna say, is it like an actual job for him, or does he do it on a volunteer basis? Or
no, it's an actual job that he does like year round.
I mean, that's great. That's awesome.
Right now, his current job is combing through the submissions because this year's submission based. So they're just thousands and thousands and thousands of submissions.
It's currently going on right now, right? Like the submission process is right now.
He sends like best of and worst of to the group, and we get to hear like, oh, sick, this band's coming, and then we also get to hear like, I don't know if these guys are an actual band. I think
I'm just gonna throw it out in the airwaves then. Make sure Blank,
for sure, definitely.
Blank State and Overthinker get on this year's Fest.
That's they should apply.
You know, it's funny.
You just throw things out in the airwaves, and sometimes they stick.
And sometimes that would be a job that I think I would love. I mean, all I do all day is listen to music. So if someone was going to pay me to just listen to bands and decide whether or not they should play Fest, I would absolutely throw myself at that opportunity, like without fail. However, I think Fest is one of the most wonderful things about Fest, right? Is how truly inclusive it really is. So, even if, a band might not seem like a Fest band, I think over time, quote unquote, air quotes, there are these bands that get labeled Fest bands, right? Like,
Banquets.
Right. I mean, I love Banquets. Banquets is so good.
Banquets rules, yes,
but
they definitely fall into the Fest band category.
And they definitely do fall into that category. But also, you think of a band like Evan, like Into It Over It, right? Into It Over It, I would consider to be a Fest band because I think I've seen them 4 or 5 times at Fest. However, if you listen to an Into It Over It record, you'd be like, oh wow, there's like a lot of like nuance and musicality in here. Like these guys should be playing like Bowery Ballroom and like all that kind of. But the reality is, I think that's what makes what Tony does so great, is that he looks at the breadth of what he has and he says, okay, we know we want Dikembe on, right? Like we know we want Dikembe on. And then, a band like Kerosene Heights, right? Like great band. Like let's include them. Like maybe they're not exactly the kind of thing you'd expect to see at Lucy's or, at Bo Diddley or something, but it works.
Yeah, I feel like over the years, the Fest band like moniker has sort of like expanded to just be like bands that rip. Like
Right.
it's like just bands that are super good live and also great to listen to on recording. Like it used to kind of have, I feel like, early years, it was sort of like the bands that were on Fest you'd consider like the Hot Water Musics, like the gruff, like punk bands.
Yeah, the more
And
punky
now it's
org,
just sort of
org kind of, yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, orgcore, yeah. And then so just sort of like over the years, it's just become like like I saw Motion City Soundtrack at Fest last year. Like it's like
Right?
it's just a huge variety of bands now,
Yeah.
and all of them are very good because the
Yeah.
people that run it just have like an extremely good taste in music.
Yeah, and
So it's
truthfully,
just this awesome curated festival.
I remember like when I knew Fest was like kind of like there was change coming is when they booked Me Without You. And I was like,
Yeah,
there couldn't be a more perfect band to play Fest than Me Without You. There really couldn't, because like their ethos, what they're about, whether or not you look in, you take the Christianity aspect and you do with it what you want to do, but still like just the way they developed, the fact that they were so DIY for so long, it's just like kind of, I feel numbskullish that they weren't included earlier.
yeah.
It just seems like they were such a good fit.
I think that's another aspect of Fest is like it's not just bands that play good music. It's like the avenue that you have to take to get on Fest. Like you're emailing like Tony and Randy and all these dudes who like they're very like no BS, but they're very cool.
Yeah.
And so like the bands that play also personality wise are all super chill,
Right.
super nice people.
Yep.
And I think that just makes the whole event just like a very welcoming place and
Mhm.
like you said, very diverse at this
Yeah.
point. Like it's
For
cool.
sure.
It's the best weekend of the year every
Absolutely.
weekend.
Absolutely.
Or every year, not every weekend. But yeah, it's awesome.
Now, being a family man and having like obviously more obligations, is it one of those things like you sit down with your family like at the new year and you're just like doing your calendar? I know a lot of families do that. Like, where are our vacations and where's our time off? Are you guys always
Fest
building?
is on there.
Yeah, I was gonna say
every year Fest is like it's just like it's a given that, and the past like 3 years my kids have started to come too.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
like,
I saw your stories. I saw a bunch of Instagram stories of your kids being at Fest last year, and I was like, oh, that's so fucking cool, man.
Well, like not only do we put it on the calendar, like the girls get excited about it, and now Adeline, she's 10, and she's like asking like, Dad, can I come up on stage this year? And it's just like, I got some stuff I want to say. And it's just like, yeah, definitely, for sure. Like, come on.
Yes.
And then she's already up there with like, I don't know, she gets really stoked to just hold the microphone and talk. She's done that the past 2 years, and
for sure.
It's a family event. It's like a Gray family event for us every year. Everybody goes. We get like either an Airbnb or we stay at David's house if there's room, but he's got 3 kids now too, so it's sort of like, big family event every year. That is really funny. I've never thought about it that way, Mike. Like, it's just sort of like, yeah, it's a given every year that like those 3 days, and my daughter's birthday is Halloween, so like she was born during Fest. Like we had to cancel uh our set. My wife went into labor like morning of, and so I was like, I can't be there. And then Evan from Into It Over It, Christian from the Hotel
Yeah, I remember that
and
actually.
Max from
Yep.
Signals Midwest like jumped on and did
And
like a
filled in for
fill-in
you.
set. Yeah, so she's like a Fest baby that's ingrained in our DNA of the family, I guess.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the day when my girls are slightly older so I can do that trip, because Fest is like a bucket list thing for me. I've never been able to go.
Yeah.
And I've been hearing Tom talk about this festival since we were like 18 years old. So like,
Yeah, it is.
I need to get down there. And now I'm in North Carolina, so it's a lot easier to just drive to Gainesville, where, you know, we grew up on Long Island. It's a hike to get down to Gainesville from Long Island.
Well, I feel like with Fest 2, it's sort of like expanded into being very like it's a family friendly event now. Like you can go to Heartwood, and as long as, you know, your kids are okay with like a bunch of gruff dudes yelling the F word every once in a while, like it's fine.
True.
But they can run around. There's like cool like acoustic shows that the kids will go to. It's awesome.
As long as the kids don't mind getting a little bit of PBR spilled on them, it's fine, you know.
Yeah, it's sort of like wild how I feel like the mindset, like if it like the first fest that we played, if you would have told me like there are kids here, I'd have been like, that's a very progressive family. But like
Agreed.
now it's just like it feels like a lot of the bands, like us even, like the bands have kids now, and like Tony has kids now, so like he gets it. It's cool. I love Fest every year.
It's incredible. And you know, so funny you said, you know, you just spoke about giving your daughter the mic, right? But you yourself are now holding the mic, which is kind of different. I mean, I think I've been, you know, I've probably, maybe the first time I saw you guys was probably either at Fest or maybe at one of those woodshop shows, you know, at Jimmy's old place on Long Island.
Hell yeah.
And, you know, and then I've been seeing you guys pretty consistently over the years, and I haven't been able to catch you guys in a couple of years, but you know, I've seen some videos of you on stage holding a mic.
Yeah.
And I'm just like
the guitar down.
I'm like, to that I very vividly remember Saves the Day being like one of my favorite bands of all time. I remember when Chris, so originally Chris was just a vocalist, like back in like the Through Being Cool days, right? But then, you know, Stay What You Are comes along. He starts playing guitar, and then he's playing guitar for years and years. And all of a sudden, one time I go to see them, and here comes Chris, just
back with the mic. Yeah.
Right. And Chris, unlike you, I mean, from the videos I've seen, you've got a pretty good thing going in terms of like your stage presence and how you do it. But Chris happens to be the most awkward guy I've ever seen holding a microphone. So, like, what went into making that decision to bring on a new guitar player, a new instrumentalist, and you taking the reins live as just a vocalist? Why did you do that?
Well, so one reason was like going back to the songwriting for King, because we were like not playing the parts live and just sort of sending them back and forth, and I would record demo vocals without a guitar. It got to the point where like the melodies that I was coming up with were sort of like just difficult to play and sing. Like it was just sort of like, I'm not talented enough to do this. Like I need to just sing or just play guitar. Like one of these has to give. And I've been harping on it for like kind of years. Like since Muck, I've been like, dude, it would be cool to get up there and just like flail around and jump. And the band has always just been like, nah, dude, you don't have that. Like you can't pull that off. And then I don't know, I guess I just like after so many years of being like, free me, like untether me, please, like let me MC this shit. And they finally were just sort of like, let's give it a shot. Our friend John from Philly moved to Orlando, and he is one of Randy's best friends from New Jersey. And he was asking if I wanted to start a band, I was like, yeah, dude, I'll start a side project, but I'm just singing. Like you have to let me do this. Like it's what I want to do. And he told Randy that probably over a game of Fortnite or something. And Randy was like, why the fuck don't you just join our band? And then he can finally do this thing he wants to do, and then we can hang out. And so yeah, it worked out really well, and
Perfect.
it's been fun. It's so much fun to play the King songs live now that I don't have, because we played them on the tour we did with Kerosene Heights and Swiss Army Wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like sweating the whole time because I was like, dude, I'm going to fuck this up. Like, and so getting untethered is what we've referred to it as, allows me to sort of just jump around and do all the things that I've wanted to do since I was like 14 years old.
Hell
Now,
yeah,
I have a
man.
question about that, specifically with fan interactions. Do you feel like there is more opportunity for that now that you are kind of like able to move around a lot more freely, get up? Like, I'm sure you guys aren't playing too many barricade shows, but if you are, like, getting right up into the audience. And I do feel like bands that have a vocalist that just sings has an opportunity for that more, like getting the fans like really hyped up into it. Have you noticed that it's
Yeah.
changed?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually, like, we would talk about it. We just did a run with Off With Their Heads, and when we get in the van, one of like the topics of conversation is just like the differences, because we've been a band for so long and it's such a new thing. I don't think I ever opened my eyes when I was playing guitar and singing, like literally just eyes closed, head down, singing. And now, I'm like making eye contact with people. I'm like getting right up to the edge of the stage. And like, if I see somebody singing along now, I can like point at them and give
Right.
them like a hell yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like something that I wasn't able to do before. And it's more fun. I feel like, and then after the set, I don't have to like break any gear down. So I just get to sort of like hop off stage, go straight to the merch table, and just
Classic
get to talk to
vocalist.
people.
Classic vocalist.
I offer to help all the
Unbelievable.
time. Well, so we used to do it. So like as I would break down Randy's stuff on stage, so Randy could hop off stage and go do merch after we played. But one of the things that he, like one of the stipulations for me just singing, he was like, if you're just going to sing, you're doing merch all the fucking time now. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah,
Cool.
sure.
Yeah,
And so
why not,
now I just hop down, run to the merch table, and I get to talk to people. And I've had to learn to use Square and all these things I've never done before. So it's added like this extra layer of like being able to connect with people that come to the shows. And that's been like something that, I'm sort of like an awkward dude. So at first being at the merch table was I was like, man, these people are going to be so disappointed. Like, but it's been fun. It's been super. I don't know. It is a nice reminder of like people like us. Like, it's like we go out and do this, and people, they pay to be here, and they want to talk. They want to like, tell you about their relationship with your band. And it's like it's super cool. It makes playing shows so much more fun for me to just be able to like meet these people that are super hyped on what we do. And it's just like, wow, this is cool. This is why I do this, I guess.
And it takes
It's
you out of
really
your
awesome.
comfort zone. It takes you out of your comfort zone too, which is a good thing. If you consider yourself to be a little bit awkward, a little bit introverted or whatever, when you're sitting at the merch table, you really can't be.
Yeah, I got it.
Because what you're doing at a merch table is you're selling. Like you're selling your band, you're selling your merch, like you're selling yourself to people. Even if you're not like one of like a salesman type, you at least have to kind of curl yourself a little bit out of yourself, in order to, to maybe sell some more shirts. Someone might kind of come up to the merch table and be like, oh, you were the vocalist of that band. And you're like, yeah, Dikembe, that's us. Like, come on over. Like, let's have a chat. And then all of a sudden you've got someone in front of your table that might've just been skirting by, but now you're talking to them. And now all of a sudden you're like, oh, and this guy's like, oh, you guys are cool. Yeah. Let me grab a shirt, or let me grab let me grab a vinyl or something like that. And all of a sudden, it's you being extroverted did that. Right. So it's like a pat on the back.
That has been it's been an interesting thing. We've talked about that specifically, how like sometimes people just come up to just say like good set, and then you end up talking to them for a little bit because like they're wearing a shirt of like a band that you like or something, and now you haven't just like it's not just like a band fan thing. It's like, oh, this dude's a bud now. Like we're
Right.
friends now. Like I've made friends with this person, and they'll sort of it'll go from like, you know what, yeah, let me get a record, and it's just like, oh, cool. Like this is so great. Like just a lot of fun. Way more fun than I thought. If you would have told me like, I don't know, even like 3 years ago, like, yeah, dude, you're gonna go to the merch table, you're gonna meet people, you're gonna have conversations, you're gonna like not feel weird about taking money from people. Like it's like it I would have been like, bullshit, dude. Like
Right.
that's not punk. Like no way. Like
Hmm.
but yeah, it's been cool. Like I said, like you said, out of the comfort zone as really like it's nice when that's like rewarded with like a nice connection that I get to make with somebody who I definitely would not have made a connection with otherwise because I don't live in that place. Or like we just played in New York January 2nd. We opened for Weatherbox at Bowery, and I got to meet so many people there, and I never would have met those people ever in my
Right.
life probably. And so it was cool, like making friends all over the place. It's been really sweet.
Shout out
Also,
Weatherbox.
it
Great
reminds me,
band.
like, maybe I'm not as awkward as I think I am. Maybe that's like another thing. It's a nice reminder. It's like, hey, you're not super weird. People, you can talk to people.
Yeah,
It's fine.
people like you, man. For sure.
Now, speaking of merch and shirts, I just wanted to bring up, back in, must have been 2014, I saw you guys at this house show in Albany, New York at the Icebox.
Hell yes,
And we'll
dude.
talk more about
Wow.
that specific show. But at the end of the night, I bought probably my favorite shirt I've ever owned. And I'm so mad that I don't have it anymore. But it was like a shark getting stone
Cold Stunner.
Yes.
Yes, dude.
But
Yes,
like
dude. That shirt.
Hulk Hogan colors. It was like yellow
Yeah.
and red, and it was awesome. And I had to send Tom a picture of me like rocking this tank top and like an American flag bandana, and it was just like the most American
Dude.
picture ever. And I missed that design. I want it so bad.
That's been in talks of reprint because like we did that shirt so many times, and we did like the Hulkamania yellow tank top once, and that's the one that we were like, dude, we should bring that one back. Like that was a solid idea.
Yeah.
So I'm so stoked that you had that shirt. That's awesome.
Yep, I had that. And now to bring it back to that show, we talked with the homie from My Mouth as a Speaker, who was also on that show.
Yeah.
And he filled us in that person who put that house show on is now in Prince Daddy and the Hyena.
That's Corey from Prince Daddy. Yeah.
How crazy.
Dude,
when you played that show, you would have never in a million years thought that like one of the bigger bands in the DIY, like alt adjacent scene or whatever you want to call this, would have been like that, like high school kid that put that show on.
Yeah. We showed up for that show. Like meeting Corey was like, dude, this is the coolest kid I've ever met. Like his taste in music is incredible. His taste in video games, like we just hung out in his like loft upstairs for like the whole day, and he had like a basketball hoop in his living room. I was like, dude, this house is the coolest house.
Mm-hmm.
You're like the funniest, coolest kid I've ever met. Like this is awesome. And then I found out when we were home, like he was posting about his band, and I was like, oh, his band is super sick. I was like, this is very cool. And then he filled in for Oso on a tour. He played guitar, guitar for Oso on a tour. And we happened to be like, we were both passing through, I think, Richmond it was Richmond or Virginia Beach at the same time. And I don't think either of the bands had a show on that day. It was just like we needed a place to crash for the night, and so we both crashed in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Corey and I were like just sitting on the couch hanging out, and I was like, oh dude, by the way, your band rules. Like your band is so good. And he goes, you know my band? And I was like, dude, we come from the same internet. You booked our band. Like, look, of course I know your band. You guys are amazing. And when Prince Daddy toured for I think it was their first tour, they played in Orlando, and I booked them through like a friend. And I was like, dude, you got to put this band on. They're like very sick. They're going to be huge. Like this band's super, super good. Please book
Yep.
them.
Yeah.
And I
Is it
think
Marshall?
it was just, no,
Oh,
it
okay.
was, Marshall's our booking guy now, but it was our friend Adam. He lives in Chicago now, but he had like a small booking thing that he did for a minute, and he booked me acoustic, Tanner from You Blew It acoustic, and then Prince Daddy. And I think he ended up having to like pay out of pocket to like for the venue, because I think like 4 people showed up or something like that.
It happens.
But
you know.
when I saw Prince Daddy play at that show, it was the first time I'd seen them live. And I was like, this is going to be the biggest band in the world. Like,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
they are so good. They're so much fun. And it was just, I'm so happy with how huge they've gotten, because like it could not happen to a better person. Like the you're telling me that the kid in Albany who booked us in his like mansion like is now like fronting the biggest band in the world. Like that guy was booking
Right.
all the cool bands that would come through,
Yeah.
and now he is the coolest band. Like it's really sick.
That
We've
was
been-
actually
we've been
my
clamoring
only house show I've ever been
get
to.
Corey.
Like literally.
Yeah, Weatherbox played that show too, right? It was like, yeah, what a gig.
And I remember
What a gig for the house show.
I remember pulling up to that house because, like, honestly, on the flyer, it was just like at the Ice House. And I was like, oh, I wonder if this is like a new cool venue. It's kind of like off the beaten path. It wasn't in downtown Albany. And pulling up, and it's like you said, a mansion, like this big ass house. I'm like, I don't think this is the place. I don't. Let's maybe turn around. And then I just saw like a stream of punk kids walking out of the front door, and I was like, all right, I guess this is the place. And I remember the mom and dad were there, and like I had to like use a restroom at one point, and they were like offering cookies. I was just like, this is the most wholesome thing ever. It was just so cool.
Corey's dad is just so supportive. I think to myself about like whether my parents would have been like, hey, mom and dad, I'm trying to like book this band from Florida, or in this case, like book a band from like 5 states away.
Right.
You've never heard of them for sure because you're old, but they're really cool. Like, trust me, like let them come to our house and like pack it with a bunch of like punks. And my parents would have been like, no, go do it at the church. Like, dude, what are you doing?
Exactly.
And so his dad is the most supportive guy. And I had a chance to see like Corey play shows where big shows where his dad is there, and it's just the most heartwarming thing of all time. It's just like, my dad's over there, and it's like everybody's freaking out, and it's just like the best. Like, yeah, that Corey's done a lot for the scene, and it's super cool that like he, is killing it currently.
We've tried. We're trying to get Corey on. I just it's funny from what I've ascertained, and we've talked to a couple of different people about Prince Daddy, and they're like, yeah, he'll do it, but like they never check any of their socials ever. So like, good luck getting through to them. And that
just
seems to be
busy writing. Like, he got like crazy song ideas all the time. He's got Jofus is also like, his other project is really fucking good. I think he like scores. I think he scores like movies too. Like like that's another thing. Yeah. So he's that dude's a creative juggernaut. So I would not be surprised if he doesn't check the internet very often.
That's okay. We'll get him eventually.
Yeah,
so
we'll hook him eventually.
I have a quick 2014 talking point that I wrote down. I usually don't write down talking points for interviews, but I figured since we're having a homie on, I figured I should try to get some compelling stuff to talk about. So 2014 is when your split with the Jazz June comes out, right? Was that 2014?
The Jazz June's.
Or my dates wrong?
The split that we did? Yeah. I'm fairly certain that the Jazz June split was 2014.
Right. So I got to ask about that because, the Jazz June, they're not on American football's level, but in terms of like, turn of the century emo music, like the Jazz June is a big fucking deal. Right. And
Medicine was like a huge album for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
And here
absolutely
you
right. They are a
right.
band that
So here you
they're
are.
they're an if you know, you know.
Exactly. But here you are putting out a split with them. So, how did you get approached to do that, first of all? And secondly, did you get to interact with any of the Jazz June guys or anything like that at that time? How did that go for you?
Yeah, on that tour. So I don't remember how it came together. I think Tiny Engines maybe put it together. Maybe Jazz June mentioned that, because what I found out through that was that they liked our band. Like, they were Dikembe fans, and that for Ryan and me, our old guitar player, that was like a huge deal, because
For
that
sure.
record, the Jazz June record, is like
Incredible. Yeah.
I like it better than American Football. It's like, just they and I feel like they were sort of big in the sound that we were trying to do, the sort of like a little more frantic, a little more like emotive, I guess.
hmm hmm
And so when we found out they liked our band, we were like, well, that's crazy. We need to record a song like now. Like, this is awesome. And when we played on that tour with Weatherbox, I think it was North Carolina, there was like a kind of like an all day festival DIY thing. And they came to the show and we got to hang out. And
No
yeah, it
way.
was that was like early on in like being a band. And yeah, it was like a massive, like, pinch me, is this real thing? Because it was like,
Yeah.
the Jazz June wants to do a split with us. They're at our show. Like, we're hanging out. Like, this is crazy. It was, we so blessed. So we're so fucking lucky.
And honestly, it's a great song. I mean, Healer of the Pride is a sick song. Does that like
Thanks.
still ever find its way into set lists or anything like that?
Actually, that's a song that, like, it's like a super personal song to me. It's about my cat passed away, and I'm sort of like, I was dealing with that, like, you know, it was the first time I like felt real poignant loss of somebody that, that every day I was hanging out with my cat. And so that song I've played over the years acoustic. I have like a different version that I've played acoustic that's like got like major chords. And on the Kerosene Heights tour and the UK tour that we did last summer, it was on the set list.
Wow.
And yeah, so it was kind of like, we hadn't played it as a full band in a really long time, but I had been playing it a lot. So that song I love to play. I'm glad that you like it. I wish that we had been playing it for like all, years and years and years, but it kind of sat on the back burner for a while. And then last year we kind of busted it out again. We were like, wow, this song does rip.
Yeah.
Now when I play it acoustic, I play the ending to Shake It Out, because the chords are the same, and I
Okay.
did not realize that until we were practicing
That's so
for
funny.
I was like, you can just shift this around and you're playing Shake It Out by Manchester. But yeah, I love that song. And I'm happy that it's on a Jazz June split, because that means that people will listen to it.
Now, I'm just curious because we know you're a teacher, and with that comes obviously a pretty strict calendar you have to follow, right? Of when you can tour and when you cannot tour. But like, you guys toy the line of being a part-time band / a full-time band. Like, it's really hard to determine if you guys are a full-time band or a part-time band. Bands who are trying to take it to that next level, like, do you need to be a full-time band? Can you still make this work as like technically a part-time band? Like, what's your kind of experience with that?
That's a super good question. It's something that, like, we have always sort of fit into, like the people who like us really like us, and we don't have like a ton of, like, I don't know, we're not selling out Bowery by ourselves, but like, when we get to open for a band at Bowery, like, it goes really well. And are we like even getting an opportunity to do that? Like, I think that's kind of like what we've always wanted, to just sort of get in where we fit in, I guess. Like, so if we wanted to do a full-time band, I think, we we could probably do that, but it's just never been like on the radar. It's always been like, I love touring like summer and winter break, and then, throughout the year doing demos and recording. And then it's like slowed down quite a bit since, I had kids, but it's still this thing where like you can the way that DIY is structured is like you can do whatever you set out to do. Like if we are happy just being this sort of like cult band, I guess, like that's great. That's amazing. Like that's all I've ever wanted. Like I just want to connect with people that feel the same way about shit that I do, and then, get to go and work my full-time job where hopefully I get to like make some sort of difference. So it works out great for us. And I think that if you just have like the expectation or the goal of like, I want to play music and I want to connect with people, then you can do that on whatever level you sort of set aside time to do that on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if we had more time to set aside to being in a band, we'd tour way more than that. But just sort of being happy where we are, very happy where we are. I feel lucky to get to, just kind of be like, oh, it's summer. We're going now. It's sort of added like a nice routine to the band as well. You sort of like, we know that, during May, June, July, that's when we're going to hit it. Like we're trying to book something right now for East Coast just to see like, it's going to be that time. Like let's get out there and get it. So yeah, I think if you, however much time you set aside or however much time you can set aside to do it, like you can achieve whatever you want.
Do you remember the first time a student approached you and was like, hey, are you in a band? And were you like, shut up?
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly how it went. Yes. It's like, it was my first year teaching. I don't think Broad Shoulders was out. I think, yeah, it was like, we were recording Broad Shoulders no, Broad Shoulders was out. It had just come out. And I had morning duty. I was in front of the office and this group of 8th graders came up very kind of like awkwardly. And they were just
Sheepishly,
like,
right? Yeah.
Mr. Gray, are you in a band? And it was just like, who told you? How did this get out? And they told me that they were looking for Chris Farron videos on YouTube. And yeah. Yeah. And also like, that's pretty like, that's a pretty like underground thing, even at the time. And so, I had done an acoustic video with him at Fest. It was a light and noise video. And they said that they were watching the Chris Farron video. And then after Chris Farron's part, all of a sudden it was me like walking through the woods. And they were like, yeah, we know you're in a band now. You can't tell anybody about this. Like,
Shut it.
like,
Shut up.
please don't spread this around. I don't want this, please.
Like,
so
you almost lose a job because you hit a kid and just backhand. Shut up. No.
Yeah, that was like a huge worry of mine, not the hitting a kid part, but like
Right.
the like, we have a record called Chicago Bulls. And I
Right.
was like,
Yep.
no, like
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
toast. And
Huh?
but that record came out when I was in college. And it's funny because now I have been teaching for so long and been in a band for so long, kids don't give a shit that I'm in a band. I'm old now. And so like like I can put up like in my About Me, like at the beginning of the year, I can put a picture of me playing at like a big show. They don't care.
Yeah.
This is whatever.
Yeah, they don't care. They
But
just
They'll put you in your place real quick. Like, oh, there was only
Yeah, they
2,000
keep me
people
humble.
there. Like, you suck.
make you humble.
Exactly. But it's funny how that's changed, because I think it probably is like my mindset too, of just like I feel old now, so it's like whatever. Like yeah, I'm in a band.
Yeah, look.
Yeah,
I mean, if you had a song called 6'7", the kids would probably love it. So
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah.
So
Then they'd care.
yeah, exactly. All right. So I have a question for you. This is going to kind of like, maybe ask you to dig real deep on something. So 15 years ago, Chicago Bulls comes out, right? 2011. So Scottie Spliffen, right, is kind of still to this day. And to preface it, this is not how I feel. So don't shoot the messenger, right? But
No.
But
I know what you're gonna say.
15 years later, like Scottie Spliffen is still like the preeminent Dikembe song. And
Yeah.
one of the worst things I had ever seen, and you know, I was at Riot Fest one year, I want to maybe 2014 or something, and Yellow Card was playing, right? So Yellow Card is like a third of the way through their set, right? And they're playing all these songs from like all of the records that came after Ocean Avenue, right? And they got maybe like 4,000 people watching them, and like every song they play, the crowd is just stagnant, standing still, right? So finally, they launch into like Way Away, and the crowd just explodes. So to that effect, almost every time I've seen Dikembe, when Scottie Spliffen starts, the crowd just fucking explodes. Now, that being like one of the first kind of things that you guys have ever put on wax, you know, being 15 years old, do you ever feel like, hey guys, like I've got like 70 or 80 other songs, all of which I think are like great. Like, can we, do you ever feel that way like with Scottie Spliffen, or are you one of the people, or are you one of the people in the band who's just like, hey, listen, people have gravitated towards this. We know people love it. We want to give people what they love. So like, where do you stand? Or do you have resentment about it? Or do you just have like, are you thankful about it?
Yeah, I'm super thankful. I like that song, and it's fun to play.
I like it too.
Just the way it's structured is like, it's just a blast to play every time. But the thing about it is like, we tour so infrequently that like a lot of the times when we're on tour, it's, if somebody's coming to the show, a lot of the times it's the first time that they've been to a show, because we haven't been there before, just because like we can only tour like a couple weeks or a month at a time. So a lot of the times I just try to keep in mind that, like, you know, that's the song that people really like, and I enjoy playing it, and it's just like, it's fun for me to kind of like, I know that most people want to hear that. That's the song that they want to hear. And so I don't know, I get stoked like right before we play it. Sometimes we'll do like the samples live.
Yeah.
And I almost like it better without the samples live, because it's such a quick like 1, 2, 3, 4,
just
and
hit
then we
that
start
first
playing
chord.
it.
Yeah.
And then it feels like people, because we've been playing, you know, all the other songs, and then it's sort of like a surprise, like we're playing the first one now, like, because that's the first song that we ever wrote. It was actually I brought it to I was in a band called Wavelets before Dikembe, and I brought it to a Wavelets practice, and I was like, hey, I have this like riff I'm working on, what do you guys think? And it was the most meh reaction to any riff I've ever brought to any band ever. They were just like, it's all right. And I was like, okay, cool. And then we went back to Gainesville because all the Wavelets guys moved to Tallahassee. And then Ryan and I were just sort of like, we want to start a band where we can actually play shows. And so, you know, we were like, well, let's use that song that Wavelets didn't want to use. And then it just kind of exploded from there. It was like,
For sure.
Okay, this song, well, once we added David to the band, David's like our drummer, and he's a huge influence on what we sound like. Mostly because he's no bullshit, and he'll tell us if something's not good.
There you go. You need that.
Which Ryan and I, coming from a group of like very emotional people who are, you know, they don't want to hurt your feelings. David was a curveball of just being like, nah, that sucks. He used to tell me like, if you're yelling away from the microphone, the crowd can't hear you. So it might look cool, but it's fucking pointless. And it was like, okay, all right. Got it, point taken.
I love that.
And so when we wrote with David, we wrote that song, and I got to like hear his drumming style for the first time. I was like, this is it. This is really cool. So I love playing that song. I don't have any sort of like resentment. We have like an in joke that sometimes we'll just say, play Scottie Spliffen, like when we talk about anything. Like if it's just like a lull in a conversation or something, we'll just be like, play
or
Scottie
if you're like
Spliffen.
getting too long-winded about something, someone's just like, shut up, play Scottie Spliffen, shut up.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, if I'm talking about something, Randy, I'll just be like, play Scottie Spliffen.
I love
like,
that.
It's fine.
I mean, there's nothing better though than like, and don't get me wrong, your discography, not to blow smoke up your ass here, but like, like I've loved every record you've put out. And I think that every record that you've put out, there's something a little bit different about it each time that like keeps my ears engaged. But I mean, I can't tell you how many times like it's just, maybe I'll buy a clarinet and I'm just like, like I just like, I can't contain myself. And the other thing that I love about Scottie Spliffen is, I mean, it's what, 8-9 lines of lyrics? Like if that, and I mean, there's something beautiful about that too. It's like, you didn't have to get all wild and crazy. Like you had like a paragraph of like good shit, and you put it into this song and, poof, you got a hit. And I mean, like, there's a lot of things you could say about that song, but I mean, almost 10 million plays on Spotify, dude.
And I think that's like, we had to swap versions of it on Spotify too. So it's probably more than that. I don't know, man.
Probably is. Yeah.
It's wild to have that. I don't know. I love the song and I love lyrically. It's such a snapshot of like, I wrote that song, like the lyrics to it the first year in college. And it was just like, I was literally just walking through campus lost and just berating myself. It felt like just sort of like, I suck at this. I can't even walk around. Like, why? And so like I don't know. I still like singing because it makes me feel nostalgic for,
And I think the most poignant thing about it is just like, the last two lines where you said like, what is it? I've never said this to anyone. I've never said this out loud. It's just like what an interesting thing to put in a song, because the reality is now, how many times have you said that all out loud? Right? You said it easily like 1,000 times out loud now. So love that, man. Kudos. It really is, what a way to like kind of debut as a band. That whole EP in general. I mean, Scottie Spliffen being, the kind of apex of that EP, but I mean, the whole EP is just fantastic.
Now, I want to keep it on this real quick because you mentioned how you have like a cult following. Like it might not be the biggest following, but the people that like Dikembe like really like Dikembe. And the sample on that track is from Freaks and Geeks. And I would say that Freaks and Geeks is like the same exact, right? Like that there's a cult following for that show. And a lot of people think that it should have been a bigger show than it was. And like it didn't get its fair share of like having another season, right? Like one season and done. And there's a true cult following, but it's also at the point where your younger fans who are maybe discovering you for the first time have no idea about that reference.
I had this conversation at the merch table at one of the Off of Their Heads show. This girl came up and she was like, my boyfriend and I just started watching Freaks and Geeks when the sample came on in the show. And I was like, oh my God, like it's backwards for you. Like, like people who, when we first put that song out, were probably like, oh, I love Freaks and Geeks. Now people watch Freaks and Geeks and they're like, that's like the Leo pointing meme. Like that's the Dikembe thing. Like that's like, it's wild to me. It was crazy. It blew my mind the first time that happened. But yeah, I think I don't know. Again, like I think I don't know, that's what I've always kind of wanted to be, to mean a lot to the people that we mean anything to, I guess, has been the goal. And I think Freaks and Geeks is the same way. It means a lot to the people that it means anything to. And that's, yeah.
I think that's such a great way to put it. And I think, to the people who Dikembe does mean a lot to, I think Scottie Spliffen is one of those things that like for a while, I feel like it was even gate kept a little bit. It was just like, it was like, like you gotta you gotta hear these guys. You gotta hear this EP, and then when Broad Shoulders came out, it was like, oh my God, like, now I get like 10 songs from Dikembe, like instead of just 4, like it's incredible. I don't want to get too long winded, but I do want to cram in a couple of quick questions. One of which I'm very curious about. I want to talk about Game Over.
Yeah.
And I think that, knowing, how much you love, gaming and all that kind of stuff, I feel like it was a perfect thing for you guys to do. But I'm very curious as to like who programmed it, how you guys did it. Did you guys use any actual like hardware? Like, did you actually like, were any Game Boys harmed in the making of Game Over, or like, how?
No. So we in 2020 when Muck was coming out, like we had to cancel a big tour, and we were kind of like fumbling. We were like, what the fuck? How do you promote an album with this? Like,
Yeah.
how do you
Right, without being able to do anything.
right? If we can't play shows, like how do we and so we had the idea, we were like, we should do a game. Like we should have a mobile game where like, and so we like brainstormed that a little bit. We like tried to program it ourselves, and we were like, we don't know how to program video games, turns out. And then one of the things that we wanted to do is we wanted each level to be like a different era of Dikembe, because
Yeah.
we'd been a band for so long at that point.
Yeah.
And so we chose songs that would like have, be representational of whatever era we were trying to do. And so we tried to program those too, and we sort of did a little bit. And then we found somebody, because we needed to put the video game together, because we were like, this is the only thing we can do. So we found somebody on Fiverr to like fix the program things that we had done, which are just MIDI bullshit.
Okay.
And then, yeah, they put it together. And then I guess it was like years later. I don't know when that album actually released, but we were like, yeah, these songs rule. We should press this. Like,
Yeah.
this is cool. So
Yeah.
we tried to make it ourselves, and we were like, this doesn't sound great. We need somebody to clean this up. And then we had somebody clean it up with no like thought that it would ever be pressed or anything like that, because we were just like, it's just going to be background music on this mobile game. And then it turned out so sick. Once the person cleaned it up, we were like, this is awesome. Like,
yeah, it's very, very reminiscent of like emo game, kind of like,
yeah, exactly,
from back
yes.
in the day. Yeah. Which was one of my favorite things to play. Did you ever play emo game, Mikey?
Yeah, I played the fuck out
Oh,
of
so
emo
well,
game.
you did, but I don't know if Mikey did. Mikey never did, huh?
Mike.
No, I never even heard of it.
I don't even know if you can find it anymore. I think it's like, it's a
can't.
vestige of the internet of the past. But it was this
It's
like
also vaguely problematic.
that, yes. Vaguely is a stretch there too.
Yeah,
it was this game. It was this like game that you could play on like, I don't know, like Newgrounds or whatever. It was like
Newgrounds.
It was like,
I don't even know what Newgrounds is.
Man, okay, I'll school you. I'll be on this later, but I loved it, and I just, I think that like this like kind of pure noise with a lot of their artists, they were doing this lo-fi sort of stuff, which I thought was super duper cool. Like they did like lo-fi version of a 4 Year Strong song, which I was like, oh wow, this is like way cooler than 4 Year Strong. I didn't mean that, because if 4 Year Strong listens to this, they're gonna be like, we're never coming on this idiot's podcast. But no, but like I just love when bands kind of strike when the iron's hot, and just, you guys especially, you were like, okay, COVID got dumped on all of us, right? So this sucks, but let's do something to kind of make sure that our name doesn't get lost in the shuffle. And I mean, it does kind of suck, because Muck came out in 2020, right? So I mean, like, you've got this beautiful record that came out that like, you were probably ready to like launch into an entire summer tour of, but then, April rolls around or whenever it was, and they were just like, well, we're shutting this bitch down. And you were just like,
forever. Yeah.
Okay, so what do we do now? But I mean, the 8-bit stuff, the game, it was all really super cool. But so Muck being like your COVID baby, right? Do you still feel like when you're playing shows now, is the music on Muck, is it kind of received almost in a way where it's like, oh, we never got to hear this, and now we get to hear this. This is so cool.
Yeah. So All Got Sick has sort of like become one of the songs that people seem to enjoy live. And when we did the tour with Kerosene and Swiss Army Wife, I think somebody on that tour said like, oh, that's how I heard you guys for the first time, was All Got Sick. So I'm glad you played that song. And I was like, oh, that makes me feel a lot better, because we worked really hard on that album. Because that was the first time we were in the studio. It was the first time that like anybody had like, we spent money to make the record, like, and then, we didn't get to do anything with it. So I'm happy that people enjoy it. And the songs are super fun to play is the thing too. Like they're heavier than some of the older stuff. And so yeah, they've been well received, and I'm very grateful for that because
we love that for you. We really do. All right, so I'm going to ask you one last question. Mikey's got one, and then we'll let you go enjoy the rest of your day. Death Protector. I'm super interested in it because, to be honest, I really don't know much about like what it is. Is it something that you guys put together so that you could still have like your own hands on your own music?
Yeah.
Is that really kind of what it is? Like what is it? If you could explain it to me, because I don't know really what it is, and then our listeners, of course.
So Ledge was an EP that we did after Mediumship, and we wrote those 4 songs, and we wanted to put out just as we're like, we want to do a 7-inch because these songs are really cool. They fit really well together. They felt really cohesive. And our label at the time was like, okay, these are great. Do an LP. We don't do 7 inches. And I was like, this is a 7-inch. Like these aren't like things we're going to tack onto something else. This is like a complete thing. And they didn't want to do it. So we were just like, well, we'll just do it ourselves.
Yep,
and so
do it live.
We just kind of put together Death Protector as like a label / we did like a couple of festivals as Death Protector, and now we're doing we have like a Patreon that we've been working on putting together.
Oh, shit.
And that includes like tab books for like bass tabs and guitar tabs, and so those are all like a Death Protector collective thing as well. We put out a record for our friends in Expert Timing. We put out the band Virginity. We put out one of their first EP.
Virginity is great. They're a smart punk band now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Great band.
And so we did, basically Death Protector is the way that we can make it sound legit when we're trying to do something that we want to do.
That makes sense.
It's all a facade. It's just us in Discord going like, hey, it'd be cool if like.
Yeah. It's funny, just a real quick piggyback off of that. We had done an episode with our homie Billy Menino, and
nice.
We talked to him a bit about Brain Synthesizer, and I feel like Brain Synthesizer like is kind of the same kind of avenue as what you guys are doing, because really like, he talked, we kind of talked about how predatory record labels can be, and he was just like, I don't want these bands that I like to have to deal with that bullshit. Like, I just want to put out music for people that I consider my friends and people that I consider to be really talented, and I want to incubate them. And I'm just like, oh, shit, like what a thought, like a record label that's an incubator that's just preparing these bands for the next step. And if Death Protector is kind of doing that with Expert Timing and Virginity, I think that's kind of like such a cool thing.
Yeah, I think it's like Death Protector does not make all the projects that like we're not trying to make money on anything. It's just sort of like when we want to do something that we want people to take seriously, we just sort of put it out as a Death Protector collective thing, and then it gives it a little bit more like legitimacy, and then we don't have to say like, hey, this is just like the 4 of us like doing something that like putting out a record for our friends or making guitar tab books like so it's also a really cool name.
I agree, it is.
Now my question is what everyone wants to know, and that is Dikembe Mutombo actually a fan of Dikembe?
I think he's gone. Dude.
Yeah, he's gone now.
My gosh.
Yeah, he passed recently.
R.I.P. I did not know. My bad.
Yeah. We also when we did Muck, I know that he has no idea he had no idea what we sound like or anything like that, because we paid for a cameo from him to like promote Muck, like, and we were like because we were like, let's just have him say like Muck's coming out, go buy it.
No, it's a Muck is coming out.
Well, he like it came back very short, and he was just like, please check out Muck by, like, he called it like Mock. It was very clear that he was just like, he just read like Muck by Dikembe, and like I don't even think he even connected that like we were named after him.
Right,
Like,
right,
I think
right.
he was just sort of like reading off it. So I know that he had no idea what we sounded like. Never crossed.
Because like, let's be real. I'm sure like someone of his caliber or whatever probably like has a PR person or something, right? Like has a team, and they probably are every once in a while like just Googling Dikembe Mutombo, right? Like just to see what pops up, to see if he's
They
still
probably have,
relevant.
like, Google alerts.
Yeah, Google, like whatever. And they're
Yeah.
probably always like, what is this Dikembe band? Like, why does this keep showing up?
Dude, I love the idea that there's like a PR team for Dikembe Mutombo that's just like, oh, there's a bunch of searches going on. Oh, this fucking weird band's going on tour again.
God
Like,
damn it. Just sitting there being like, God damn it. I don't want to hear Scottie Spliffen again. Jesus Christ.
can't even spell Pippin's.
Oh my God. Honestly, like if that was like a short on YouTube, I'd watch it. I'd absolutely watch it. I would certainly watch it. All right. Dude, I love it. Okay, so before we let you go, because I got to shout him out because he's a good buddy of mine. I mean, it's 2026. Do you think if Jimmy brought his cards over, you'd still wipe the floor with his ass? Would you still?
I don't know. So I haven't played Magic in like, I think COVID. I was on a heater right before 2020, like, shut down. I was winning Friday Night Magics. I was going to like PTQs and I was doing really well, and then just stopped playing.
Shit.
But there's like 3 friends of mine who have been like, they've started playing and they're like, hey, I heard you used to play this. And I've just kind of been like, I can't do it again. I can't get back into it. I can't.
It's a goddamn drug.
I wonder if Jimmy's in the same boat as me, because I know that he recently had a kid. I think
He did. Yeah, he's got
so.
a.
He's probably in the same boat where he's just like,
for
I
sure.
can't touch it anymore. I can't do it anymore.
Guaranteed he still has all of his binders and stuff. He probably hasn't played in years, because the reality is not only is he married with a kid, he's got like an ownership stake in a bar that takes up almost like all of his time. I mean, he's still it was always going to be the same Jimmy to me, being at fest, drinking hella beers, getting all drunk, and just like having a great time. And like one of these days, like he says, and I don't remember what it was, I want to say it's maybe like 6 or 7 years ago, he says that was his last fest, right? But like, I kind of have this feeling that like, once his kid gets a little bit older and, it doesn't need, because he's, under 1 year old, I think still. So like once the kid gets a little bit older, I might be able to just like fish him out. And it's maybe when Mikey and I and Justin all go together, when we eventually do, I might be like, Jimmy, like, I heard Steven's going to be there and he's bringing his binders, and he's going to be like, and then all I have to do is be like, he'll be like, no, man, I don't know, I can't. And I'll just be like, yeah, Steven kind of figured you'd say that because you're scared that he's going to beat you. And he's going to be like, scared? And he just buys tickets.
Into a battle?
I ain't never scared.
That's how we're going to get him to fest. We're going to tell him that I'm challenging him to Magic.
For sure. And then, dude, it'll be fantastic. But shout out Jimmy. Shout out the wood shop. I loved every little bit of time there. Steven, dude, it's been such a blast to talk to you. Really, like I said, a long time coming. I wish you guys all the best in the future. Real quick before you go, if you want to give us socials, all that kind of stuff, where, our audience can find you, find your music, how they can get you.
Yeah, we are Dikembe Dudes on all socials, just one word. We have the Patreon that we're working on currently. That's going to be really cool. There'll be tab books, prints. There's another game. There's just all kinds of really cool stuff that we're doing. So yeah, if anybody follows us on there, you'll see a bunch of really niche, cool shit.
Niche content, man. Soon. We're all about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. All right, Steven, we'll enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks so much to all our viewers, man. Thanks for checking us out and listening. We got some cool things coming, in the next couple of weeks. So keep your ears to the ground and you will see it. So for Mikey, me, and Justo, who is not able to be with us today, we bid you adieu, and we will see you on the other side.